Don't you hate it when those pesky Jawas strip your ship, forcing you to make a deal with them in order to get your parts back? I figured it out. It's a live-action cartoon. And I'm fine with that. It's The Mandalorian. Chapter 2, The Child. Hey, little baby. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Mandalorian. So, of course, spoilers coming your way, and as always, quick jump index system right in the description below. Entire review, titleized and time-stamped. Jump to the end first, watch the beginning last, watch it in any order you would like. Alright, I'm going to just jump right into things. This is going to be a short review, and I think all of these are going to be short going on. One is, episode's only a half hour long. Not a whole lot of material to dive into. And like I said, I figured out the feel of this show. It's a live-action cartoon. This is an episode of Star Wars Rebels. Effectively. Clone Wars. Pick one of them. Small story, goofy circumstance, overcome with adventure, and the story moves on. Now, I gotta say, I have no problem with this. I think this might be a good, interesting way of telling the story because, again, Disney wants these shows to be four-quadrant. They want to apply to everyone. It's not just for us old men that want to see a Mandalorian kick some butt. It's for people new to the series. It is for kids. Disintegrations may be a little over the line. So, yes, it's a cartoon with disintegrations. Not that there weren't some heavy stuff going on in some of the Star Wars cartoons. But that's basically the circumstance that we have. Come on, the Jawas stripping your ship, and you gotta make a deal with them, and then you can magically put the whole thing back together with a montage of you and a technologically proficient Ugnaught. I mean, how more cartoonish can you really set up? But it's fine. I mean, it really does. It just puts everything in kind of a fun perspective. And again, they had some great moments. We get the nice fight, early on with the Mandalorian being ambushed as the child little floaty Yoda baby is floating behind him. And in fact, I think that's one of the funnier aspects of the entire thing. Even going after the giant sand crawler, we have just this baby floating along the side as all this adventure is going on. I mean, which is kind of funny considering there's a concern about this child's safety, and yet on the other hand, it's just tailing along with assault and sand crawlers and giant beasts to get egg. And thankfully, in that sense, we get a little bit of force action going on. But it just doesn't seem a whole lot of concern at some points for the child. The other thing that they're doing really great here on is really flashbacks to classic creatures. Things, I mean, Jawas, we've never really dived into Jawas all that much. And now we get to have them back. We get to have an assault on a sandcrawler. Get to see how that whole thing sets up. So that's kind of cool. And that's the opportunities the show really does. And again, always have to press the use of practical effects and practical makeup. And I'm not saying that everything is that. It's a combination of CG and practical effects, but I think that's how it's done perfectly. There is one point where Mandalorian's being attacked by the big creature when Yoda Baby lifts up with the Force, where all of a sudden we get this obvious CGI floating creature, which is so odd compared to all the other shots of the creature looking great. There's one with the ship, where we're seeing the engines all testing up and everything, and that all looks great and amazing, and then once it starts to sort of take off and move, then it starts to move into that, like, CG palette, the I don't know, the matting or whatever, in order to get that to move through the seat. So there is some odd bits when some of the CG is moved, but using a puppet for Baby Yoda, awesome. The Ugnaught effects, and again, I know all of these are blends of CG and practical, but I think they're using a basis of practical effects so they can just use small CG in order to tweak and bring it to life. And I think that combination is really what is selling the amazing look and feel of the show. That and just, again, some fun characters, good characterizations, quick storylines, keeping the pace moving forward. It all works. Oh, and just real bit, I know I look like crap. I've been feeling a little under the weather, which is also why I haven't done so much more with our playset here. Hopefully by next week I'll have a little bit more exciting going on, and I won't look like warmed over death. Alright, and for this week's Scene of the Week! You can probably guess there's only a handful of possible choices. Was it going to be the fight in the beginning? Is it going to be fight with the big monster in the back? It's not going to be the montage of putting the ship back together. Cool, but again, very cartoony and, wow, magically done with these two guys in a couple of hours. But no, let's talk of the attack on the Jawas, because we really get to see a lot of fun things in this. First off, disintegrations. It's like trying to make a deal with people later when you disintegrate a handful of their people right beforehand. But it's showing the badassery of our Mandalorian character. And as far as he goes, how cold he is in order to get the job done. Also, just awesome seeing those robes just poof and disappear and fly out. I mean, the panic and everything established in that is awesome. And of course, again, Sandcrawler. We've never really seen Sandcrawlers from the inside. I mean, we saw the one droid bit in Star Wars in A New Hope, but that's kind of it. Here we get to see a little bit more. We get to see the doors and side panels for the Jawas to protect themselves, as it is kind of a moving fortress, which is kind of cool in the communications and the bit of ideas and the throwing junk after. I mean, it was fun. It was interesting. It's something we haven't seen before, but with a race that we are familiar with. Again, it gets very cartoony once he starts trying to climb up the sides, and they are opening and they're throwing things, and he's trying all the different stuff and knock down, and he's using the wrist grapple point, which, okay, I thought that would, like, help pull him up, but it's just a grapple, then he's got to, like, Batman climb to get up the side. That doesn't seem very practical. Also seemed very tightly pulled against his groin there. There's one shot. I don't know what the rope was lower attached to or ever. Seemed kind of uncomfortable. But again, just kind of a fun bit. And again, very cartoonish. You could easily see this entire sequence animated and would look exactly the same as it did. Also, we get to see why those jetpacks are really useful for Mandalorians. He needs to get one of those. That would have made this whole thing so much easier. So it was just kind of a bit. We have our badass Mandalorian blowing people away, going after it, and then being beaten down by a bunch of tiny Jawas, kicking them off their ship. Especially with that last kind of, again, very typical Deus Ex. The gun that his rope's attached to falls down. He disappears. They look down. Then he's suddenly right there underneath them to pop up before getting stunned and falling right off the ship. So it was a fun sequence. It had some action. We got to see some stuff we haven't seen before. Very cartoony. It kind of really fit the episode as a whole. All right, just a couple of small things. One, what happened to his horse? His space horse, the Jerg, the land piranha-looking thing. I remember it getting shot when he assaulted the base initially, and yet he seemed to have to walk all the way back. Maybe it ran off, which would be fine. Maybe that's a little deleted scene of him going to look for it and it's gone. But that was one whole thing. Again, cool walk in the beginning, gets him to fight all these guys in the ambush with little Baby Yoda floating behind him. Looks cool, but really wondered why, what happened to that creature. Oh, and his ship. I did wonder last week why he didn't land closer to, the enemy base, whatever, hideout. But I guess maybe they were concerned they have anti-aircraft, anti-space guns, so he had to land a distance away in order to sneak up. And that sort of required him to get Space Horse and everything like that. Okay, I sort of get that. But as a bounty hunter, the security on the ship's really bad. I mean, okay, Jawas are tough and technological and they can get in, but I would just think that a bounty hunter roaming the galaxy would have, like, I don't know, shields, electrocuted doors, some tight thing to prevent his ship being torn apart. Again, it's a plot movement of why it all happens. It does get us with the Jawas, but all I was thinking was, man, for a badass bounty hunter, your ship's really vulnerable. So it looks like this is probably the end of what we'll be seeing with our rancher. A good couple of episodes with him. Nick Nolte played great. I love all of the I have spoken after every choice that he makes, everything that he's done. Great. But again, a little cheesy at the end, where of course they can do their little montage and fix a ship. He's a nugnut. He's technically proficient. I can get that. But that's a lot of work to try and do in a short period of time and then feel confident that this ship is space-worthy. Also, again, typical cartoon thing. Why don't you come with me? No, thank you for staying. Well, I can pay you something. No, helping you has just been my friend. Okay, we'll leave. We're great. We're all good. I mean, it's very easy, simple sort of wrap-up without any heavy pace. It works, again, because that's the tone of the show. But, look, it's also convenient, right? The Baby Yoda's Force use. We got a few little glimpses of that when he is, when our Mandalorian is trying to patch himself up and looks like Baby Yoda's going to maybe use some Force healing or something like that. Very cool. Love the bits where he's like, what are you doing? Puts him away, goes back to work, finds Baby again. What are you doing? Puts him away, goes, repeating thing. And I'm not necessarily against the use of introducing the Force back here. Certainly the Mandalorian's response to it. Remember, it's 3 years after Return of the Jedi, but Luke's the last Jedi. Before that, the only real Force users was the Emperor and Darth Vader. Jedi probably a little more mythical, again, 20 plus years since the end of the Clone Wars and the purging of the Jedi. So the Force might be, especially out here in the Rims, a bit more of a mystical thing. So his curious of like, what is going on? Is this hitting with legend? Is this, that's sort of understandable. That works for me because the time frame that is used, that he's a little stunned and unsure of what's happening. The problem that I had with the scene is the tiny little knife he uses to kill the thing. I mean, first off, it's a little deus ex machina to have the baby lift up the thing right before he gets crushed because the Mandalorian's getting the butt kicked. Chest armor and everything is falling off. But he pulls a tiny little knife, effectively. And the creature gets lifted up and stunned, and then once it drops and you're right to face, that stab, that should not have gone in deep enough to kill him. Not with a one shot. It's not the eye, it was like the back of the head. I mean, just the depth of the knife the length of the knife shouldn't be enough to get through to some, sensitive, mortal wound there. So, again, cool, certainly badassery of the Mandalorian with the one knife shot can get right in and kill it, but the size of the knife and the size of the creature, those two did not go together. Not for like an instant kill like that. Alright, well I think that's going to go ahead and wrap us up for now. So next episode, gotta wait a week, gotta wait till next Friday. Just going to assume that they're all half hours. That they're going to read this cartoon format, which again makes sense. The director last week, Dave Filoni, did a lot of Star Wars, Clone Wars, and all of that. Very proficient in that sort of feel and form. So I'm just assuming that that's how the rest of this is going to play out. We can expect a little bit of action, a little bit of adult, some toughness, but mostly just think of a live action cartoon where this is going to go. And I think that'll keep us probably in the right mindset for it. So, still excited to see how this is going to play out. 8 episodes total, so there's 6 more to go. Really curious where the story's going to go. And also just excited they have that feel of revisiting worlds and creatures and ideas that we are familiar with and kind of expanding that lore, expanding those ideas a little bit more. So I'm excited. They've got the right feel. They've got a great tone for it. May not be as dramatic and intense as I was hoping for, but I am perfectly happy with what they are delivering. So, that's going to be it for now. Thank you again for joining us. And as always, if you enjoyed this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. thoughts, ideas, and comments. Throw those down in the section below. What you guys think about the episode? Do you like the live-action cartoon feel? Are you wanting a little bit more? Does it work perfectly for what you want? Let me know your thoughts. Throw those down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please subscribe again. 6 more episodes of Mandalorian. Got 2 more episodes of Walking Dead. Got another 6 episodes, 7 episodes of the final season of Mr. Robot. Fun stuff. Don't miss that as a subscriber. Do that by clicking this button right here. And be sure to hit the notification bell underneath. Let you know when any new reviews are posted. And we'll throw up a couple of those latest reviews right here for you to check out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.